famous poet advised us for our peace of mind to look every morning at a farm. We can't all do that, but instead let's take a walk round a Wessex farm in the springtime. And of course, first of all, we meet scampering lambs, even at this tender age, learning to rush about like a flock of silly sheep. And talking of sheep, here they all are, waiting for dinner. Some go ahead and some follow the chef. And here's one old lady who's already booked a place in the queue. In the spring, a young lamb's fancy lightly turns to thoughts of food. Mary had a little lamb, and these little lambs have little Marys to be fed. And now you know what it means to take to the bottle. Let's cross the farm again and see what else we can find before going to the fields. Here's an up-to-date refuge from the big bad wolf. Across the farm again. Hello, more pigs, this time entering a new home. And as usual, food is the main consideration. It's sad to reflect that these youngsters do themselves so well now, so that we can do ourselves well later on. And this is a herd of the little fellows. Feeding time? No, says Mama. We aren't open yet. Ah, ready at last. Well, you may not be able to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, but she has her uses where these children are concerned. Did anyone mention quins? Look at that expression of blissful content. She'll dream about turnips and clover till the cows come home. And now we mention it, here are the cows coming home. The lowing herd winds slowly to the shelter of the sheds. Inside, first you'll see water for the cows to drink. And now perhaps you'll understand how it gets into the milk and stop blaming the milkman. And just in case the cow doesn't feel thirsty, they give her this salt lick, which is red because it's iodized. This is an age of mechanization, and pretty Phyllis the milkmaid must give place to this contraption. Off we go, all hands to the pump. And now you ought to get some idea what the novelist means when he talks about the heroine's gaze of calf-like devotion. And this is Father. Tennyson called a bull a jeweled mass of millinery. He must have been suffering from a bad attack of poetic license. Father may be handsome, but whenever I see him, I look hurriedly round for the nearest gate, and thank heaven I wasn't born a toreador. How would you like to be led by the nose? Perhaps some of you do know what it's like. And here's Daddy's youngest, a calf born the very day that this picture was taken. Poor little fellow, or is it a she? He needs an astronomer to point out the Milky Way. Come on, Mother, give the child a chance. Ah, the dairy at last. Now he's happy. Food again, and more food. And here are Tabby and Ginger, busy like all the rest. From refreshment to labor, these are some of the workers. And look at that beautiful tree. Doesn't it make you feel you'd like to hang your harp to a weeping willow and rest in the shade? You must admire this proud stallion and see the proud lift of that arched neck. He's a splendid fellow and well aware of the fact. And as usual, the children aren't far away. He's full of frolic now, but he'll be working later on. And here's the foal's cousin. And they don't get far away from mother. Like all the rest, the tummies will soon be crying cupboard. There was a sower, and he went forth sowing. In olden days, of course, the seed was scattered by hand to produce the harvest. But today, the countryman has a machine to scatter the seed that in due time will yield the crops for harvesting. He works with the calm deliberation of the countryman. No haste, no hurry, but he gets there just the same. A peaceful scene, where thoughts of war and rumors of war have no place. Whatever may happen to us, nature has decreed that seed time and harvest continue their unending round. And now let's take Grandpa's place at the bar of the little pub. Six months later, and summer has quickened the land to life. The harvest is ready, and here, very early in the morning, whilst the dew still weighs down the corn, comes the scythesman. His job today is to prepare a passage round these oats so that the binder may pass later on. Scything is skilled work, as some of you may have discovered. It's easy enough to damage yourself, as well as what you're cutting, if you don't understand the proper manipulation of the heavy, sharp blade. The scythesman, as you will see, swings it steadily in well-timed rhythm, and so accomplishes his task with the minimum of fatigue and the maximum of efficiency. Steadily he has gone to work, and the clean-shorn path grows and takes shape. And here's the binder, at its task of cutting the corn, tying it into neat sheaves and dropping them ready for stooking. How different to the days when the cutting was all done by hand with a sickle, and the gathering and binding a weary task of many hours. And these are the stookers, older men, for the lighter work of stooking the sheaves preparatory to loading and stacking. And after that, the wagon comes to fetch its load. It's a skilled job, this arrangement of the sheaves, so that the wagon can carry its maximum load without dropping any of the bundles as it lumbers off on its way. And the wagon brings the load to the Dutch barn, and then goes back for more and yet more. This task of loading must not be held up or delayed, and as much hay as possible must be made whilst the sun yet shines. Still, even a harvester can't go on forever, and at length there comes a welcome break at the morning's end. Beer, beer, glorious beer, and free beer at that. So who minds if it is brought out in a water can, provided the water's been drained out first? And here's Grandfather's pint. Good health, old man. But what about grandson? Well, he's been binding with the best of them, so he doesn't see why he shouldn't have a binder like everybody else. And good for you, son. And now, back to the labor of the afternoon, for there's lots to be done yet before the harvest is finally home. Time marches on, and and at long last, the bell rings for tea. At least, there may have been no bell, but the tea is brought out to their menfolk by the bells of the farm. Can you imagine anything more satisfying than a sit-down, a smoke, and a cup of tea towards the end of a hard day's toil? It's a picnic meal which all share, whilst no doubt old George tells them the tale of the enormous crocks he gathered in the good old days, and Mother retails the gossip she has gathered earlier in this present bad day. And here's another job to be done before we can call it a day or a stack a stack. The thatcher arrives, and it's our old friend Harry, the scythesman again. He started a job, so he's going to finish it. And like scything, this thatching is skilled work. For if it's carelessly done, or any gap or hole is allowed, the rain of the winter will surely find it out and ruin the stack. And at long last, his job is done, and the stack well and truly finished. But don't imagine that because the harvest is home, the work of the farmer has ended, or that he can now take his ease for a month, or even a week, or even a day. No sooner have the fields been cleared of their crop than the plough must be set to work to prepare them at once for a new sowing. No wonder we read that the ploughman homeward plods his weary way. He has a heavy and man-sized job that would defeat many a town dweller. And so, steering his team toward the blue of the sky, we leave him to the task upon which depends our daily bread.